Hey guys, my name is Nabiri and it's time for another Synth Saturday, and today we're going to dive deeper into Sylenth and take a look at the effects section. So if you want to make use of the effects section, know that your sound will travel through all these effects from top to bottom and then to the main volume output. So always when you're going to be using multiple effects, the Arpeggiator is going to be in front of the Distortion, Phaser is going to be after it, and Reverb is going to be after that. So just know that you can't really play around with the effects like that, but you can use them in multiple different functions to create a nice sound. So we'll just be going over all the effects from top to bottom, starting off with the Arpeggiator, going down to the Compressor, and I'll just share my thoughts, share my experiences, and yeah, just talk a little bit about them. So if we take a look at the Arpeggiator in Sylenth1 is actually quite nice. It has multiple different options on how you want to make it move, and that's just really useful. So you can make chords, for example, to make some easy chord arpeggiators for maybe a pluck, or you can make it move in single notes, so up or down or up and down. It's just really useful. You can make use of this mode in combination with the time to create the arpeggiated rhythm that you want. So let's say we make this go up and down and we put it at 1/8 tempo. This is what it's going to be sounding like. So you can really make some nice arpeggiators that's going to create some suspense or create some drive for your breaks, for example. If we want to make this a nice pluck and put some reverb over this. You can create some nice atmospheric sounds for your breaks. Now, to be honest, you have the step sequencer over here, and I never touched it. So I don't really use this at all. If it's in a preset that I happen to be using for a track, it's nice, but I know that the transpose is going to be transposing some notes up, and the velocity is going to be depending probably on the volume of the note being played. But yeah, I just don't touch this when I'm making a sound on my own. One knob I do touch a lot is the gate, and this gate is just helping you make a longer note if you put it at a higher percentage and a shorter note at a shorter percentage. So if we put this down, we got some nice plucky notes, and if we put this to the right, it's going to be a lot longer notes. So you can use that in your advantage to make different types of arpeggiators on here. Then you have the Distortion, and you just got 5 different types, and the top 3 are quite easy to control. You can just open up the clip all the way, for example, and it will just sound nice. Same with the overdrive. Somehow I don't really use the foldback too often. It's just because it's a little bit of a weird tone. I just don't happen to use this quite often. And then you got the bottom 2, and the bottom 2 are quite situational in that they're more aggressive and you need to play around a little bit more with the dry wet to get a nice sound. So if you make this saw go a little bit lower, pull this amount down and then pull the put the decimate on here, it might sound interesting. Or it might not sound interesting. It's just a little bit more situational. Then onto the phaser. The phaser is just nice to create some more movement in pads, for example, and that's honestly the few times that I'll be using it. It's just on a pad. It has some nice options, so you can make it move faster, and you can make the movement that the phaser makes a lot bigger with this LFO gain. And you can spread out these points that are moving for the phaser. And you can make the points move from the phaser with the spread a little bit more, so they're spread out a little bit more, and you can use that in combination with left-right offset, so you can create a nice stereo sound. So it's nice, but I actually happen to only use this on pads sometimes. Now onto the chorus. The chorus is just nice to thicken up a sound a little bit. And what it does is it just creates an extra voice, kinda. And that voice is going to be delayed by the amount that you put in over here. So let's say we put this at around 50 milliseconds and pull up the rate quite a lot. And what this rate does is it's actually just detune. As you hear, that's suddenly turning into multiple sols with some detune in there. And if you turn it down, it's less detune. And this depth is linked to this rate, so if we now turn it up, it's going to be sounding utter rubbish. Just because this depth increases the movement that the rate can make. And the feedback can be quite nice, just to create some weird dubstepy noises in combination with some clip distortion or some other type of distortion. Let's just see if we can create a nice example. Maybe pull up the feedback a bit more. See, like this with the feedback, it just creates a nice sound. That would otherwise sound quite bland. It's just shaping it a little bit more in an interesting way. Then the EQ is just an EQ. The second and the fourth point are just the frequency that you're going to be putting it on. And the first and the third points are just the decibels that you're going to put there in gain. Like maxing out at 15 decibels. And yeah, 0 is the least that you can do. But I really don't use this at all. I just think like if you need an EQ, you can take an EQ afterwards, after Sylenth, and just put an EQ on there and just have so much more freedom instead of using a weird two-pointed EQ inside of Sylenth. And you get a nice detailed delay. And this delay is quite nice actually, because you can make the left side and the right side move at different tempos. So you can create some awesome rhythms with this. You can low cut it and high cut it a little bit, and your bottom knobs are just there to modulate that delay a little bit more, so it doesn't sound as static. Yeah, it's just nice. You can try this on maybe some plucky or background-ish sounds, and this might make it sit a little bit better in your mix, or just be interesting as a little detail in your tracks to have a, let's say, a plug in the background. And the plug is going to be having a weird delay on there that's just creating a nice detail in your break, for example. So you can do something nice with this. So the reverb is just a basic reverb, and I really don't like the sound of it. So you really don't see me using this at all. Unless it's on a preset again and it sounds nice in the preset, then I might keep it, but then I'll still add reverb afterwards in the mixer with just a Valhalla room to unify it with the rest of my mix down. It's just basic. It has a pre-delay, dampening, that's basically high cut if I'm correct. The size is just the size, and the width is the width of the reverb, but I really don't like using this one. And the compressor, it's actually the same. I feel this compressor is kind of limiting. It just does what it needs to do. It is a compressor, but I like to have a little bit of the visual aspect that Pro C has, for example, where you can really see what your compressor does. Because to be honest, compression is sometimes hard to hear, or yeah, I just have some difficulties with that as well. So yeah, I don't really use it that often. So yeah, that's it. That's all about the effects section of Sylenth1 and my opinions on it. I hope you like this and learned something from this, and hopefully I'll see you back soon again. Cheers!